Hi everyone. In this short video, we're going to discuss arcs. Arcs relate to motion paths or all forms of movement and rotation in a physical sense in animation. Arcs are the opposite of linear movement. So you can see at the top, we have the ball moving in a curve, and here we have the ball going in a straight line. Predominantly, and within many examples and circumstances, we want our movement to be more like the top, following a more natural, curved movement throughout space. There are times, of course, we want linear movement, and that would be when we're making a generalization about something that is robotic, or more specifically, if we have a item like a ball rolling along a flat surface, like a table. That is a clear example of when we want things to be moving in a straight line. So first thing I'm doing is I'm setting a keyframe for position. So if I press P on the keyboard, we see that position opens up. If I go Option and hold down Option and press P, we see that it also sets the first keyframe for me. For this ball, I'm going to say that it is going to be maybe off screen, and then it's going to come on screen. Let's say over here. So at the moment, I'm just roughing out my animation. I'm not worried about the timing yet. I'm not thinking about stretch and squash. I'm not thinking about slow in and out. I'm just wanting to work with my pose to pose. So by pose to pose, I'm saying that at set moments in time, these things are happening. And let's say that then it's going to bounce up here, then come over here, hit the ground, and then go up. Okay, we should see what's happening is that we are getting the path of the motion, which is always attached to the anchor point on our layer. So coming to a bit of a gradual stop eventually. And so there's my animation. And of course, it's easy to get misinformed by scrolling away because we inadvertently scroll at the speed we want the animation to take place, buoyant. And really, what we do need to do is set the beginning and end of our preview area, and let's see that. And here we really see what we have. It's very floaty, very floaty. It's a very poor piece of animation, and it certainly can do with a lot more work. It does effectively communicate movement in arcs, but we really don't get a lot of feeling with that. This takes us on to a more significant part of what we should be looking at, which is with our motion paths, we can once again use our pen tool to control not our timing relationships, but our spatial relationships. And that if I use the convert vertex tool and I start to click and drag on the keyframes, which look like curve points. If I click and drag, we see that our handles can be manipulated. Now, the first keyframe isn't necessarily the best one to show, so I'm coming to the second one. And if I have my Convert Vertex tool and I click on a keyframe, you see that it goes from rather sharp to very, very smooth. Uh, if I click here, we see that we get these two dots, and these are the handles for the curve. If I click again, we see that we can reset things as well. So I'm grabbing the left handle and dragging that up. I'm holding down the Option key and dragging the right handle. There is often this annoyance in that when I grab one of my handles, so let's grab this one, it seems that both move, but never at the time when I want it to. Let's click there. So let's say I grab this one. Yes, that's fine. But if I grab the second one, then suddenly everything's balanced again. And that certainly has its benefits. But if that's not the behavior that you're wanting to get out of the software, then the trick to use is to, let's say I'll come to this one again, is that you hold down the Option key while you're using Convert Vertex tool, while you're clicking and dragging. So I'm not using it here on the first handle, but when I come to the second handle, it allows me to split the weightings and allows me to get this more of a bounce looking motion path. So my arcs are moving more the way that they should. Now, this one here, okay, you see what happened? I didn't have my finger on the Option key and this handle is snapped around. I'll undo that. Putting my finger on Option. We see there. So now I'm wanting to bounce out that way. And as soon as I hit there, let's get that. And I will start to move. There we go. That is working the way that I want. And there. Bounce, bounce. Now I'm hitting here again. So you will notice that as I scroll through time, it looks like my motion path is starting to appear and disappear. Now, the reason why that is because of one of the ways that the preferences are set in After Effects. If I come up to After Effects and choose Preferences, I'll start with General. And is it in display? It is. So motion path. No motion path, we wouldn't see any of that. All keyframes, we'll see the whole path the whole time. No more than 5 keyframes would mean that there would be a certain split between keyframes beforehand and keyframes after. At the moment, we don't have preview available for our preferences, so clicking on these is making no difference. And I had this option for no more than 15 seconds worth of animation. For the time being, I'm turning on all keyframes. As your projects get more complicated, then you may wish to decide on limiting the amount of information that you're seeing on screen. Right, coming to there. So let me get this and adjusting that. And adjusting that. Now you see that the spacing between my keyframes is all getting quite diverse. Some parts of the curve are very close together, some parts of the curve are very far apart. That is informing me that the spacing of my keyframes in time are going to need looking at. But before I get to that, I'm just going to try and balance out, there we go, my motion path for this part of the curve. Yes, that's starting to look quite good. So if I play that back now, well, it certainly feels like it's connecting with its environment. The issue now is one of timing. So especially see here how it speeds up and slows down. Now that's the purpose for another video. What we have seen here though is how easy it is to make movement in arcs by using a combination of the pen tool with motion paths, which of course means keyframes of our parameters in After Effects. Simple as that. Okay. See you next time.